I'm a realtor, and that was the image I was trying to portray. And it wasn't necessarily authentic, and it wasn't necessarily real. And so I posted a clip of me dancing around, and it was just sort of a reach out like, ugh, 2 deals fell apart. The sky is falling. I feel gross, but I know that I have to shake it off right now. And I posted it. And 3 minutes later, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I need to take it off. So I go back into my Instagram account, and I started to get a lot of comments from realtors, and not just realtors in Calgary, not just realtors in Canada, but realtors all over North America. And that was sort of the post that made me realize, right? And change the way I was doing things.
Really great episode for you guys today. That was the voice of Sarah Johnston. She is a real estate agent from Calgary, Alberta, and you may already be familiar with her from Instagram. She's got over 14,000 followers on the platform, and the story that you just heard about her kind of dancing in her living room to Michael Jackson on probably the worst day of her career turned into one of the best days, or a real turning point in her career. So we're going to find out a little bit about that. If you want to follow her on Instagram, it's Adventures in Real Estate YYC is her handle. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Oh, hey, Warren, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. When we jump right into it, for a lot of folks who, like in the Calgary real estate market, obviously you're very well known, and in the social media ranks as well. But for the rest of the people around the country who might not be familiar with you, how would you describe yourself in like 30 seconds or less?
Wow, I feel like that's a loaded question.
It's like, what's your elevator pitch, right?
Exactly. What is my elevator pitch? I'm not very good at them. I don't think I ever have been, to be quite frank. At the end of the day, I'm just a working realtor. I've found some level of success inadvertently, definitely not on purpose, via the social media realm. And it's funny because that actually triggered, you say I'm well known in Calgary. Well, not entirely, but a lot of agents do know who I am. But they know who I am because of social media. And
Right.
then they put 2 and 2 together after the fact. So the driver was online. And after that, everything else kind of started to fall into place. They say, and this works for our clients too, they say that people have to hear your name 2, 3, 4, 5 times or see it in order for them to really know who you are. And that's the same here.
You use the word inadvertent. Looking at what you do online and seeing a lot of your work ethic and the Sunday working and the Friday night working. So, inadvertent might be a little bit of an understatement, but there was one moment that catapulted you into a different realm. The date was October 15th, 2015, and you lost 2 deals, or 2 deals fell apart in one day. And you did something a little bit different on Instagram. Do you remember what that was?
Oh, of course I do. And that's where the inadvertency of it comes in, because that was completely inadvertent. I did not mean to do that. Now, here's what happens, and anybody that works in our industry, or anybody that actually really works for themselves, they've gone through these phases before, right? Things seem to be going well, and you get super excited, and this is fantastic. And then it just feels like the rug is pulled out from under you. Now, our market here in Calgary was going into a recession at that period of time. And I wouldn't be so hesitant to say that we're still sort of there. There is a light at the end of the tunnel now, but of course, it is 2018. So when you're looking at the last 2.5 years, on that particular day, I thought that things were going okay. And I thought I was not going to beat the market per se, but I could see what was going on around me. And I thought, all right, you know what? I'm finally going to be okay. Now, by that point in time, I had already been in the industry for 10 years. So I had seen some of these ebbs and flows before. Sure. And in a previous recession, it almost destroyed me. It destroyed my business. It destroyed my self-worth. And I could see that happening again. And so on this day, October of 2015, I lost 2 deals in one day. I knew that we were heading into a recession. And I just sort of broke down. You have that moment of like, I can't do this again. I cannot go through. And I know how hard it was for myself just to pull myself up by the bootstraps. And I couldn't do it again. And I sat down, and like a lot of realtors do, I opened a bottle of wine, and it was a Friday night. It was like 9:00, and I didn't know what else to do. And I started to feel really sorry for myself, to be quite frank. And I had a couple sips of my wine, and I started to think about the deals that fell through. And they fell through for various reasons, but it wasn't my client's fault. And I completely trusted and in fact guided them into that solution because that's what was going to work out best for them. But at the same time, I thought, oh no, what if I never sell anything again? What if this is the end in heading into another recession and I'm just not going to be able to pick myself up? So as I'm sitting there having a glass of wine, I knew where my mind was going, and I knew that it was deep and dark, and I knew that if I didn't do something about it right away, that the next few years of my life could be very, very, very difficult. And so I was listening to some music, and Michael Jackson's Billie Jean came on. And I just decided, you know what? I have to do something about it immediately. It's not even about giving myself a night to grieve or try to pick things up on, Monday morning and give myself a weekend. I knew that I had to do something right away. And so I got up and I just kind of started to dance around. Now, for anybody that's seen that post, you realize that I cannot dance to save my life.
You're not bad.
It's pretty bad.
But better than me, fantastic. I'll say that.
I look like a 50-year-old man dancing at a wedding. Like, that's what I would liken myself to. But anyway, so I got up and started dancing. My dog was even barking at me. He thought it was terrible also. And I live in a pretty big condo downtown. And one of my girlfriends that lived down the hall heard a bit of a ruckus, the dog kind of barking. And she came in. She opened the door and just walked on in and saw me dancing there. Had no idea what was going on, but of course she just started filming it. Now, by this point in time, I had half the bottle of wine, and I thought it was a good idea to post on social media. Now, up until this point, and I'll be very honest, I posted what I thought I should post.
Right, very curated, professional stuff.
I'm a realtor. This is what people want to see in a realtor. And that was the image I was trying to portray, and it wasn't necessarily authentic, and it wasn't necessarily real. And so I posted a clip of me dancing around, and it was just sort of a reach out like, 2 deals fell apart. The sky is falling. I feel gross, but I know that I have to shake it off right now, like right this very minute. And I posted it. And 3 minutes later, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what did I do? That is so unprofessional. That is so embarrassing. I need to take it off. So I go back into my Instagram account. And all of a sudden I realized that, I was getting a couple of likes, and this was very shortly thereafter, right? And when you don't have a lot of followers that you might only get 15 likes in, 5 hours. Mm-hmm. And so I started to get a few more than that, and I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. But more than that, I started to get comments, and some of the hashtags I had used were easy to be searched, especially for those that are in the real estate industry. And I started to get a lot of comments from realtors, and not just realtors in Calgary, not just realtors in Canada, but realtors all over North America.
Wow.
And the comments were, I feel ya. I've been there. Oh my God, the same thing happened to me. And people would go into it and they'd start telling me their stories, or they private message me and just be like, you've got this happened to me. And it was weird because from that post, it kind of felt like a little bit of a network was forming of support. And it made me feel better. And not only did it make me feel better, but some of the comments were, thank God it's not just me, that you're going through this too. And so it started to make other people feel better. And that was sort of the post that made me realize, right? And change the way I was doing things. When
you crack open that bottle of wine, probably one of the worst days of your career in real estate.
Yep.
And then you have this turning point, and it's we live in this age of everything is cultivated, and the lighting, and this was really a series of weird little coincidences. Your friend shows up, has a camera, the certain song comes on.
Yeah.
You don't delete it. That's probably the biggest one.
I didn't delete it, but I was embarrassed.
I can imagine. So why do you think it was so? And we're going to include the video in the show notes on my site. And I've watched it a couple times. It's like, you can't help but be kind of entertained by it. It lifts you a little bit. But why do you think that resonated with people so much?
Because everybody's been there. Everybody has had a moment where they thought, this is the end. I can't do it anymore. I don't have the strength. And then you see something like that, and you've probably done something like that. And it's just very human.
But most people haven't videotaped it and put it on the internet for the world to see.
That's true.
Right. So, and then the tone of your Instagram, and Instagram is your place. Like, you're not, LinkedIn is not your place, Twitter is not your place, Instagram is your base. And so the tone and the color of your, and we're going to get into the color in a second. I have some questions. The tone of your posts changes at that point, and it's very much, the behind the scenes. It's the cards, the plumbing's been shut off, please don't use the toilet, and people still do. Or it's someone making you wear a hard hat when you have to go in for a home inspection, and the look on your face, like these little moments that don't seem like marketing moments, right? But that seems to be your kind of secret sauce. Like, so
it's so funny you say that, because after each moment that you just mentioned, I went back to that day, and I like to laugh, and I need to laugh, and we need to laugh sometimes in our jobs and our lives. I have a tendency, and I always have since I was a little kid, to take things far too seriously. And I was always stressed out and always, trying to manage and cope and deal with things, and always biting off more than I can chew. And laughter for me, I mean, it's such a cliche, but it really is the best medicine. And so when I find myself doing something, and don't get me wrong, every single day I will find myself in a situation or doing something and just laugh at myself. And those are the moments that then I post about, right? So, you mentioned going wearing a hard hat into a home, which would be fine if the home was under construction, but the home was
beautifully finished home. Yeah, it's done.
Beautifully, completely finished. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll put the hard hat on, so I
but
felt
it's the
like
look on your face says everything.
Yeah.
But that's your brand. So, I noticed that recently you were ranked #1 of the top real estate agents to follow in Calgary. So first of all, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
The other thing is that, I took some time and I went and I checked out some of the other folks as well, and what are they doing online. And I have to say that it seems like, one individual, I'm not going to use any names, but one of them, I think their first post was like the day after your dance. And some other people seem to be kind of stealing your thunder or trying to like cut your grass or whatever the expression is. And I know you've got some interesting thoughts on competition. So how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel flattered? Is there pressure? Because I know that it's a pretty cutthroat business, real estate. So
It can be.
how does the competition make you feel?
It helps me work harder, and it helps me work better. At the end of the day, and there's so many sayings about this, work as if somebody else is chasing you. Well, I know who the people are that are chasing me.
Yeah, they're on that list.
And they're on that list. And
beyond.
there are a few that aren't on that list and are on different lists.
Right.
And I know exactly who they are, and some of them have spoken to me about it, or some of them I have helped get started with their social media. Here's the thing. I take 2 coffees a week with other agents. And a lot of times they're agents that I don't know. I get asked to go out for coffee. People want to pick my brain. And I will say yes twice a week. And so, these people are my competition. They're not.
What's the long game there?
Well, and I hope to help them do better. But at the end of the day, the long-term goal, honestly, and this is something that I will probably never achieve, is I want to change the way realtors are looked at in our business. I was ashamed when I became a realtor. I didn't tell some close friends and family for years. I had gone to university. I had a great job. I was in the corporate world. And I got into real estate just sort of on the side because I had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was like 25. And I thought, hey, this is going to be fun, something to do on the side. And I found out that I loved it. But I also found out that as soon as you told people you were a realtor, the way that they
you get
talked,
that look, right?
You got that look, the way they talked about you, they interacted. It's like you're a pariah or something, right? And stay away from them. And I was ashamed. I was embarrassed for my profession. I would love for all of us to be working at such a high, competent level and to be so good at our jobs that we are actually treated like professionals. Because there are so many agents that are so professional and that I admire so much that it's embarrassing when I have to defend myself and defend my career path.
Right.
And that's honestly where it comes from.
Do you have a ritual for when you close a deal?
I wish that I celebrated and had rituals a little bit more often. I am definitely my own worst enemy, as many of us are. So it's come to the point now where, I'll bring an offer together and my clients are super happy and I will just sort of smile and go on with my day. Mm-hmm. Now, I have yearly goals that I will try to reward myself with, and that's a little bit of a struggle, only because sometimes you don't feel that adrenaline rush and you don't feel that nice big breath, that feeling of completion. Mm-hmm. And that's what keeps you going and what keeps you competitive. But there's some negative that goes along with that too. So do I have a ritual? No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's with the turquoise? What's the deal with that?
I really like that color.
But like, I didn't know you own things in that color that I didn't know they made in that color. Like the keyboard on your Mac is turquoise. Where did you get that?
You know what's so funny is daily people tag me on Facebook, on Instagram, send me emails, send me text messages of things that they have found in my color. So I literally have lists of places I can go for anything you can imagine. I have other agents sending me pictures of garbage cans, or one of them actually bought me a dog bed in my color.
Wow.
So when people, and I get gifted these things, which is kind of phenomenal. And it became kind of a beast on its own. And I didn't realize it. I mean, it was a color that I use in my marketing. And so it created brand recognition without me being fully aware that that's what I was doing. Right. If I were smarter, I would have done that on purpose. But because I'm not, I did it by accident. And so because this color is just so associated with me now, anytime people see it,
they think of
and
you.
They think of me and clients, years after I've worked with them, they'll send me a card because they saw it and it has my colors on it. And so that's something that color recognition. And I did tell another agent here, in Calgary about it. And I know he's trying to work with the Purple brand now because of that.
I saw that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Mr. Purple.
Yeah, and so the color recognition, became a beast of its own, and that's kind of an amazing thing. And that was just a complete accident and a complete byproduct. And now people see it and they think of me. I mean, that's excellent. I don't care if you're looking at a garbage can in Tiffany blue and you're like, "Hey, Sarah."
You're top
of mind. I don't care that it's a garbage can. I care that you're like, "Hey, Sarah."
I see a lot of comment, and the other thing that I noticed too is, you actually get into the comments when people leave comments in your post. You're like right in there, and that takes a lot of time as well. And you see a lot of people who they're almost like they're too good for that. They'll have the curated post, but then that's it. That people are asking them questions, you never see them chime back in. But you do that. So is that just part of that engagement piece? Or are you trying to give back to your audience? Like where's that come from?
Well, if somebody's going to ask you a question, it's a little bit rude not to answer.
Valid,
right?
For sure. But so many people do it, though.
Well, I know, but I'm not really sure why. That is the whole point of social media.
It's the social part.
Social media. Right. And here's the thing. Those comments mean more to me than any number of likes that you're going to get, because it takes nothing to double tap on a post and like it. It takes a hell of a lot more to sit there and write out your question. And so, I always respond to people.
In your Instagram bio, you talk about a believer in the scarcity principle. Can you just talk a little bit about what that is for people who aren't aware of it, and how does that apply in your business philosophy or your kind of the way you work?
Of course. So here's the thing. Everybody is out there working like there's not enough, and that we're living in a society where sales, clients, all of these things are very scarce, and they're working to get a little piece of the pie. My true belief is that if you are working hard enough and if you are doing the right thing, that there truly is enough for everybody. And that's been proven and shown time and time again. I mean, if you think, back at The Secret, the book that came out and everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." That's the exact same thing. That if you're working for it and if that's what you're thinking and working towards, there's enough for everybody. And so that works into my thoughts on competition, because I don't feel that there is a lot of competition out there. We may act as competitors at times, but we are certainly not enemies. and it's okay to go up against other, agents, but that competition is really just in our heads. And so because I think that there's enough for everybody, I'm not concerned about losing out. And so that whole fear that's associated with competition isn't a part of my life.
Do you find that freeing in a way that you can more focus on yourself instead of worrying about who's behind your shoulder?
It is so freeing. Not only that, but since I really delved into this a little bit deeper, and to be honest, it was only 3 years ago, I delved into this a little bit deeper, and I've got some other agents within my office that feel the exact same way, and we've taken some similar training. And because we all feel the same way, we are just so open and honest with each other, and we've created a group, a network, a very loose team, and we are all doing so much better because of it. Because of those thoughts, because of those feelings, because we can share things with each other, the exact numbers, exact sales, all of that type of thing, because this can be a very, very lonely business. And as soon as you realize that not only are you not alone, but there are a lot of people out there that can think and feel the same way and want to support you, you're damn right. It is so freeing.
So how is real estate lonely? Everyone, I think, has this idea of meetings and open houses and handshakes and deals and networking and office mates. So how's it lonely? How's it lonely?
Let me tell you about the first 10 years in business for me. And this is the same for a lot of people because everybody's got their own home office and you close deals with your clients when you're meeting them various places, but then you're just living and breathing real estate. You don't have that vent. You don't have that place to kind of download. And it's ridiculously lonely. Not only that, but if I've got a day of hard paperwork I have to do, there were days that went by that I didn't talk to anybody, which seems strange, but a lot of showing requests come in via text or email, or you might have a short conversation on the phone, but you're not seeing these people, and it can be really isolating. It's the exact same thing. Social media can be very isolating. People think that so much is going on because they see all of that, and they're just sitting at their homes watching all of this happen. And it can be so lonely. You don't have people that have your back.
So what do you do in that case? Do you head down to the grocery store and just bump into people in the produce aisle, or what do you do?
Just be totally that creepy person and be like, hey, do you want to be my friend? I think what you ultimately, at the end of the day, is you really have to be able to find those people that understand what you're going through and where you're coming from. So it can still be lonely if you're out with clients all day looking at properties, right? Because that's not really who and what you are.
Right. There's not a real connection there.
There's not necessarily, and you can have, and I've got some amazing clients. We have so much fun, but at the end of the day, that's still work, right? But being in our business, work is 24/7. And so you need to have connections that are a little bit more than that. And you need to feel like people have your back. And in real estate, especially, it can feel like everybody else is out to get you. And you have to change that. And one of the ways that I've done that is I got rid of my home office. I go into the actual office. I've got an office there. I've got some great agents, and we share and we collaborate, and it feels like a team. Man is not made to be just an island out there on our own. We're meant to have that sense of community. And so I just created my own.
I saw you had your dog at the office the other day. You had a fire alarm or something? Yeah.
Oh, the worst. 2 days essentially in a row. It was a Friday morning and then Monday morning. It's been really cold in Calgary this winter. And I guess because I am in quite a large building, I guess somebody had auto started their car in the parkade. Now this is like a 5-level parkade, so I'm not sure why that would happen, but the carbon monoxide started to build up. The alarm goes off. It went off at the same time, both Friday and Monday morning, which was approximately just before 7:30. And the alarm's going off, and I know it's not a false alarm, so you've got to get out, and I'm getting all my stuff ready for work, but I'm not leaving the dog behind. So I just got into work a little bit earlier and had the dog with me, so he hung out for a little bit. He loved it.
And he ends up on Instagram. There you go.
And he ends up on Instagram. He thinks that work life is the best life because everybody was fawning all over him.
Perfect. So when it comes to social media, who are some of the people that you look up to, and not necessarily in real estate, but just across the board in marketing? Who are people that you follow or that you try to kind of emulate, if there is anybody?
Oh my gosh, and there isn't. And that's not on purpose. I should probably be a bit smarter than that and find a couple of gurus with it. But I also don't want to pretend, once again, to post and to be things that I'm not. You know, I remember when I first got involved with Instagram, and like I said, just posting about what I thought realtors should do and what marketing should look like. And so I still really want to keep it about who and what I am. Now, as for the people I follow, there's a couple of great people out there, such as yourself, that have podcasts. And, you know, if they reach out and we chat, I love to follow and actually see what people are doing. The people that I do follow, I kind of feel like a little bit of a creep because I'm actually following them. You know, I know when they've had children or get new pets or something has happened. And a lot of them are just regular Joes off the street. People that I have met in various places. There's quite a few
really
other
that social
agents out
piece.
there.
It's what you talked
It's
about
social.
earlier is the social bit.
Completely.
What would be your advice to I have a couple places I want to go. The first one is real estate is traditionally a male-dominated industry. Yeah, I think I've got that correct.
Au contraire, my friend.
Really?
Au contraire. No, it's actually, there's more, especially in my local market, but I know that this is a nationwide thing too. I'm pretty sure right now we're at about 54% women to men. So there's actually a lot more women in real estate than any other industry you're going to find.
But has it always been that way?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So are the men just louder?
Yes.
Because my recycling bin is full of stuff from guys, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and the men definitely are a little bit louder, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure if it's a female thing.
Testosterone, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, and you know, that being said, it's an even industry, but if you do look at some of the top agents and the top dollars, that is still very male oriented.
And do you think it's that alpha kind of competitiveness, or what do you think that is?
Yeah, it could be. There's definitely something to be said for that. There's definitely something to be said for people that feel more comfortable perhaps working with a male because of old
biases or
ideas. Yeah, exactly. And so it is interesting.
So what would be your advice to young people who are just maybe getting into the workforce and who are thinking of a career in real estate? And specifically young women, what would be some of your pieces of advice for them in terms of how to carve out a career and how to be successful?
Well, and I think, honestly, I don't even like to say, you know, just for women. I think women and men, only because I do see the female voice getting quite a bit louder and getting quite a bit smarter. And so I think that we're going to be okay on that. But anybody new getting into the industry, you really have to do your homework. Everybody seems to think that you can get into real estate and you can sell a couple of houses and you're going to be a millionaire. But let me tell you, those top agents, they did not fall on the top of the mountain. They are out there working and grinding. And so when you mention comments about posts that I've put when, you know, I'm at the office by myself on a Friday night or a Sunday morning, or a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, you know, you have to work hard and you have to be prepared to work hard. Now, before you get into the industry, you really need to put a bit of a nest egg aside because the first 3 years are murder. You know, the fallout rate in the first 3 years is close to 84%. So 84% of new agents do not make it past the first 3 years because people think that it's going to be easy, and it is not. You have to work harder at this than many other vocations. And not only harder, but you have to be such a self-starter and find so much motivation so that you don't end up being that ship out to sea on your own. Mm-hmm. And it can be hard. And it's one of those things, people just think it's going to be so easy or think, hey, I can do it. And they get into it and realize, wow, this is not what I thought it would be.
That's a huge drop-off rate.
Huge,
That's
right?
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, I mentioned my recycling bin earlier where a lot of my direct mail ends up. What are your thoughts on the state of marketing in real estate today? Obviously, you've had success online, and I'm sure that's translated into your day-to-day business. That's not the case with everybody. I still see the ads on buses and park benches and billboards and direct mail. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work, but I know that personally, I'm literally not reading that stuff, and it's kind of irritating when it shows up. So what are your thoughts on the state of marketing in real estate across Canada today?
I completely agree with that. Not only that, but because I will never get a bus bench, I always thought that if one day in my mind I made it, right? Like I've got a certain thing in my head, a certain equation that I'm like, okay, when I'm there in my mind, I've made it. And when that happens, I'm going to get a bus bench. But it's not going to be advertising for real estate. All I want it to say is Sarah Johnston's bus bench. Just because I think I should have one. Right? Because every agent seems to think you need to have a bus bench to be successful. And I don't see those things working. And I don't see the print materials working. And what I see working is some online advertising, but more than that, that online authenticity. People want to find out who and what you're about. They want to be able to Google you and have a whole bunch of different articles and things pull up. They want to have a good idea of who and what you are before even meeting you. And so for me, that's the stuff that's working. Any of my advertising dollars actually just goes back into my own clients.
Right.
Right. I like them. So I'd rather take them out for coffee or for lunch or be like, hey, how are you doing? Or drop something off at their home than print out 12,000 postcards that are just going to end up in the recycling bin.
But people, they cling to it still. It's so funny. And I'm betting a lot of those people don't read the direct mail that shows up at their house from other people or other businesses too. So they're not living the same way. They're not working the same way they live. There's something weird going on there. You had one of the quotes on your Instagram feed was, "Don't outspend your competitors, outsmart them." And can you give me a couple examples? I don't want you to give away kind of proprietary secrets here, but can you give me a couple examples of what that means?
Well, and it's funny. So I was at a bit of a talk a few weeks ago in Calgary. We had the Forecast Breakfast. So our real estate board put together this huge forecast and trade show. And we had Terry O'Reilly come and speak. And he actually did a speech about that. And so that was my takeaway from it. I, listened to everything he had to say. And at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? You don't have to spend money. Everybody seems to think that you have to spend money to make money. That was great. You definitely had to do that, in the 80s and 90s. But now with everything we have online, you can spend nothing and have a far better rate of return than those that are spending, tens of thousands of dollars. And so what I'm looking at and what I'm saying with that is, guess how much those social media posts take me? I'm not spending any money on them.
Right.
It's just about me and who and what I'm doing. I'm not spending any money on it. So you can work smarter. If you do want to do some marketing, there's so many other marketing ideas and clever things that you can do that don't cost a lot.
Now, I appreciate you're probably extremely busy. You said your business is 24/7, yet you are the president-elect for the Calgary Real Estate Board, and you're going to be the president, I guess. When is it? Next year?
Next year, yeah.
So obviously, not like you don't have enough things to do. What's the thinking behind that? Because it's obviously going to be a time commitment, but also a profile. How do you think that fits into the whole plan for you?
Well, here's the thing. If you need something done, give it to a busy person.
Right.
I get way more done if I am extremely busy. If I've only got 10 things on my plate, I will procrastinate or take the dog for a walk. When I really need to get things done, I get so much done. And
so
that
you thrive on that pressure.
Thrive on it. But that feeling of accomplishment of, okay, yes, I can do this. That's all the motivation I need. I don't need to be looking at quotes. I don't need to be going to listen to speeches. That is self-motivating, right? Because it really just changes your mindset. And when I first decided to run for the board was actually in 2015, right after October 15th, because I thought that my world was falling. And I don't want to say I was hedging my bets, but I was worried that if I wasn't busy enough, that I would completely falter.
Right.
And so I gave myself more of a project to ensure that I kept going. And the year after that, 2016, was the best year I had ever had. And the Calgary market was deep in recession. So you can't tell me that a slow and low market is going to hold you back.
Right.
Because that year proved to me that that was not the case at all.
Well, it speaks to your the whole principle of scarcity.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So yes, I am going to be quite a bit busier this year. I've realized that I have bitten off quite a bit, and next year's just going to become more so. But I'm prepared to put these few years aside and work the hardest that I ever have in my life. Try to help as many people as I possibly can. And yes, some of it's, about giving back and having different voices available, on our local board. And so for me, that's important.
Okay. Couple quick questions and I'll let you go. I understand you've probably got some houses to sell. so I'll let you go do your thing. The first one, and this might be a little bit weird, but I want to find out some advice that you would give to people who are sort of, the older generation in their 40s or their 50s or even their 60s. Who are looking to get their businesses on Instagram. And I wouldn't even mind if you took a look at my page and just ripped it apart. What am I doing wrong? And don't feel you're not going to hurt my feelings. And if there's anyone else out there who can benefit from this, I'd like to find out what would you change if you had a magic wand for my Instagram page?
Well, let me pull it up right now.
Sure.
It's nice and easy at Warren Weeks, so I can find that one.
Mm-hmm. It's not a common name.
Not a common name. So
I'm bracing myself.
Are you bracing yourself?
I am, yeah.
So you're just very vanilla, and that's fine, but you're not really showing who and what you are on here, okay? I like the use of exclamation points just because this just falls flat a little bit, Warren. I'm sorry.
Hey, I don't think I'm the Instagram demo, but
no, but the way that you're talking to me isn't the way that you're talking in these posts.
Again, you're not hurting my feelings. I want to hear the stuff, and I want to try to go outside the comfort zone and make some changes. So be more of me, let the personality come through, a little bit more of that. But even as I'm saying that, there's not going to be any videos of me dancing to Michael Jackson. I can tell you.
No, and there doesn't need to be. I mean, I haven't done that in 2.5 some years.
But you know what I mean? There's this barrier, the marketing barrier, right? And I think that's where you found your magic, though, is crashing through that.
Yeah, but is that a marketing barrier, or is that just a barrier with yourself because you're embarrassed to post some stuff that's a little bit more you?
Well, that's what I mean. We have this kind of the idea of, well, anything beyond this line is, well, this is the marketing stuff that I could feel like comfortable putting out there, and beyond that is kind of the uncomfortable zone.
But we're supposed to live outside that comfort zone.
That's where growth happens.
But that's true, and that's sort of where some of that magic is made. And I'm not saying to turn around right away and put something out there that's excruciatingly embarrassing,
Sure.
but this needs to be a little bit more about you,
mm-hmm.
And who and what you are. So you should be in every 3rd to 4 post. People want to work with you.
All
so right. they do need to see that. Now, some of your hashtags need to be worked on a little bit.
My daughter told me that.
Yes. So they're very plain. They're a little bit boring. You can get into, realtor life, or if you find people to follow, or even if you're following some of my things, look at some of the hashtags I use. Now, I make up hashtags a lot.
Yeah, I've checked them out.
Yeah, because some of the hashtags I'm like, oh, this is completely ridiculous. Or I use it to explain my story a little bit more, but that's just a Sarah-ism. But there are a few hashtags that I use all of the time. And I found those by looking at other agents that were doing well in the field of social media and seeing what hashtags they were using, because there's always this kind of undercurrent, right? If you put hashtag real estate, well, there's 15 million posts associated with that. Nobody is ever going to find yours. Mm-hmm. So you want the ones that are used a little bit more exclusively, so that the number of posts are, 10 to 20,000. Sometimes they do get up there, but you don't want ones that are just so common that you're just going to get lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm. So for you, it's about building that community, authenticity. You feel like it's a real reflection of who you are as a person.
Well, and I hope that it is. I've asked a few people that actually only know me from Instagram and then we meet in real life. I have asked, do you feel now that we know each other, do you feel that what I put out there is actually me? And so far, luckily, they have said yes.
Right.
And if somebody said no, I would probably take it very personally and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like, if this isn't me, this is a problem.
Well, the fact that you asked the question, I think, means you're open to, most people wouldn't ask the question, right? So I think that's great. I saw that you tried cryotherapy when you get into one of those giant freezing tanks. Yeah. How was that? Did that work? Why would someone do that? I don't even like when there's a draft in my house, so I don't.
And I hate being cold. So that's kind of the funny thing about me too. I'm actually sitting here right now, and I do have blankets in my office, and I'm always wrapped in one. I basically have a muumuu on at all times.
Right.
So I'm cold constantly, but I also go through periods where I like to work out a lot or be very active, and my brain hasn't quite realized that I'm getting older and have a tendency to hurt and or strain myself a little bit more frequently. And so I was going into the cryotherapy chambers just to help with some muscle and joint issues. My knees are pretty terrible. And I do find that it works. So I went every day for like a week. And then now I just go kind of when I'm having issues, but it can be pretty preventative as well.
How long do you go in there?
Oh gosh, you're in there for 2 minutes. It's not very long.
How cold does it get?
Like really, really, really cold. It's minus 200 degrees in there.
And what do you wear? Like, are you wearing a towel or what do you, I don't know how it works.
You're sort of naked.
Sort of.
You're fully naked. You are fully naked in there.
No, I'm totally not doing this.
Well, and you don't want to have like metal or anything touching you because it's just going to freeze to your body. Yeah. And so you're fully naked, but they do give you actually wear socks and slippers, and then you've got mitts on your hands just because all of your phalanges are going to freeze and fall. Right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So you don't want that to happen. But other than that,
you're doing a great marketing pitch for cryotherapy. This is great. You have to be fully naked and your fingers are going to fall off. Okay.
And your fingers are going to fall off, and it's really, really cold. But it really reduces all of that inflammation within your body. And you do get a little bit of a high when you get out of it, just because then your blood is rushing to your extremities right away.
I'll have to put it on the bucket list. We'll see what happens.
I think it should go on the list. Let me know how that goes for you.
Indeed. So just before we go, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Well, I hope I'm not where I am right now. I'd like to continue growing what I have right now. I really feel like I'm just at the beginning of something. I really enjoy public speaking. When people such as yourself ask me to do these podcasts, I like to talk. And I like to talk in the hope that it can help somebody else. But it's also a bit of therapy for myself, right? You need to kind of see where you've been to know where you're going. And I'd like to be doing this a little bit more of a full-time basis, to be quite honest. So a lot more travel in the next couple of years would be great. My time commitment in the next 2.5 years, I'm locked down right now. But after that, I'm hoping that I've got a little bit more freedom to travel a little bit more and, to talk to other people.
Sure. Are you getting requests to go to like social media conferences and speak at those sorts of things?
I am, but I never really know how serious these people are. And at the same time, I really need to buckle down with where and what I am. The commitment that I've taken with the real estate board here is a pretty big one. And so I've fully committed myself to doing that. And so the next couple years, that is really going to be my primary focus.
That's excellent. I think I met some folks from the Calgary Real Estate Board out in Newfoundland a couple months ago at a conference. They seemed like really nice people.
You definitely did.
Why are you laughing? I don't know.
Just because they were telling me stories about it after too. So yeah, you would have met Dave and Tom, and I think Cliff was there too. He might not have been, but Alan definitely was.
Someone named Alan, yes.
Alan Tennant. He's our CEO.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's brilliant. He's very, very smart.
Seemed like a very nice guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. All the best with your business over the next little while. Say hi to your dog, and just really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today.
All right. Thanks so much, Warren.
So that's it for this episode. I want to say thank you very much to Sarah Johnston for taking the time to speak with me. And of course, a huge thanks to you for actually listening to the podcast. Hope you're enjoying this content. Have one quick favor: if you'd like to head over to Apple Podcasts or to Stitcher and quickly subscribe and leave a comment or a review. Got some really cool guests lined up for the next couple of episodes. I think you'll be really excited about that as well. Anyway, thanks again for listening. All the best, and we'll talk to you next time.